All content in this video, including but not limited to text, graphics, images, audio, and video, is the property of Toward Health and is protected by international copyright laws. Unauthorized distribution, reproduction, modification, or use of this content without prior written permission from Toward Health is strictly prohibited. For permissions, please contact us at contact@drtro.com.
Hello, everybody. It's Coach Bronson here, and I'm going to be your final presenter for the weekend. I hope you've gotten a lot of great information. I know the content and the topics and the speakers from earlier have given you a bunch of things that you can use, practical tools that you can implement today, ways to think about how this journey is going, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how to be successful. We're going to wrap all that up in this last session, talking about the 9 principles of a successful health journey. I want you to think about the stuff you've heard earlier, try to tie that all into what we're going to talk about in how do you think about the journey? How do you go from here as you implement these things you learned through this webinar and actually keep them going? What is sustainability? How can you implement these things in a way that makes sense for you? What is your actual goal? What are the things you're trying to do? And how do you pick and choose which of these things you implement first and how you do it? Okay. So we're going to talk about, like I said, we're going to talk about the 9 principles of a successful health journey. And what we're doing basically is we're going to talk about things that I've learned as a coach. So I've been coaching for over 15 years. I've been through the journey myself. I have my own experience. I also have the experience of helping hundreds of other people improve their quality of life. So I've worked with everyday people. I've worked with athletes. I've worked with women in menopause. I've worked with women over 60, 70 years old. I've worked with teenagers. I mean, I have a large experience over a large population of people. The principles behind the things that people do who are successful does not change. Everybody I know that has had success in improving their health and quality of life have had to do the 9 things. They've had to think about the process. They've had to think about the journey. They've had to learn how to build some of these skills and mindsets and belief systems into their lives in order to see success, right? So these are things that if you can do these things, you will have success. That will be success that actually means something to you, and you will be able to maintain that success for as long as you want to maintain it. Okay, that's what the goal is here. That's what we're talking about. Now, the first thing I want you to understand, the first mindset. This isn't even one of the 9. This is the basis of where we're going to talk about this in a way in one of the steps, in one of the principles. But I want you to understand your diet, your fitness program, challenge that you're doing, an expert you're following, whatever it is you decide to do has nothing to do with your success. It is not the challenge that is going to help you move forward. It is not the diet program that is going to help you move forward. Okay. Your mentality, the thought processes that you apply to your journey, the beliefs that you have, the way that you develop self-awareness, all of the things that have to do with your mindset and how you approach the process is what's going to determine your success. Whether you quit or not is going to determine your success. Okay. I can give a million different nutrition plans. I can give a million different fitness plans. Okay. You can find them all over the internet. It doesn't matter what plan you follow if you're not doing the things within that plan that are going to give you success. Okay, that's one of the biggest things I want you to take away from this. All right. The plan is less important than your approach and the things you have to do internally. This is much more this process is much more about what happens in here than it does anywhere else. And that's what I want you to take away from this session. All right. Now, what is a successful health journey? This is one of the mindset shifts we need to make. We often start the journey thinking we just want to lose weight. That's what this webinar is all about, right? The mindset of weight loss. That is a great motivator, and that is a great thing to help people get started. Often along the way, we realize that there's more to it than just losing weight. We realize that there are medications we want to get off. We realize that there are physical limitations that we have that we want to remove. We realize that there is a quality of life aspect that has nothing to do with the weight on your body or the number on a scale that you want to improve in your life. Okay. So that is the first thing we want to understand. You need to understand in this process that the journey of improving your health is constantly changing. So where you are today can't be where you are if you want to become something different in the future, right? So that's the first step along this journey is understanding that in order to make a change, you have to make a change. In order to see something different, you have to start doing things differently. So any resistance you have to change has to be addressed. And we'll talk about that in the future. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay. It has to be quality of life focused. That's what I was talking about a second ago. We often start for weight loss and then we realize there's other stuff to it. Okay. It's not just how much you weigh, it's not just getting off of one medication. Those are great places to start. And then you realize, wait a second, I need to be stronger. I need more lean mass. I need to be able to move. I can't touch my toes. It's hard for me to walk up and down the stairs. I don't want to be dependent on other people as I get older. I need to develop my own personal freedom and physical independence. When you get to that point, a lot of other things fall into place. You get less stress. The big picture comes into play and it makes the whole process easier because now you're looking at the real reason why you're doing it and not focused on one aspect and getting stressed out or depressed because that one thing isn't changing. Okay. And then understanding that sustained progress leads to maintained progress. Okay. This is kind of an oxymoron saying that constantly changing from your current state of being is what you need to do to see progress. But at the same time, understanding that at some point in time, you're going to reach a goal and then you need to stay there. Often we get a plateau or a stall and we think, well, I'm stuck. Well, what if that plateau or stall is your new set point and you just need to practice staying there and not going backwards? Often maintenance is success because what would have happened in the past? Maybe in the past, you would have gotten to your goal and then gone right back to what you were doing before and then had to start all over again because you just reverted back to old habits. If you can learn how to practice new habits, build awareness, and establish a lifestyle for yourself where now you can reach a goal and then stay there, it makes getting to the next level a lot easier. Okay. Something to think about. All right. That is what the journey is about. The journey isn't I'm losing some weight, I lost some weight, I'm done. There's a lot more to it. And we'll talk about some of that as we go. What is the journey going to take, guys? All right. The journey is going to take a lot of things. There are 7 things here. This is not the 9 principles. These are 9 ideas or concepts that we need to understand that it's going to take in order to have success. Now, these are bonus. You can the 9 principles themselves we'll get into next. But these are just general things that you're going to need to have in order to be successful. If you don't know what your motivation is, if you don't have motivation, it's not going to work. If you don't consistently perform and show up for yourself, it's not going to work. If you don't develop the skill, I'm saying that very specifically, the skill of curiosity, the ability to try things and see what happens instead of waiting for someone to tell you what to do. It's your life. If you're not going to try, who is? Okay. The worst thing that can happen is that you try something and it doesn't work. Now you know what not to do. Try something else. Okay. Adaptability, the ability to change and adapt to your circumstances, your goals, your environment, your progress. When your progress changes, you have to change. What worked for you today or got you here where you are today may not get you where you want to go in a year. So you need to adapt and learn what things need to change in order to get you to the next level. You have to get used to being uncomfortable. You cannot stay where you are and be comfortable. Sorry, you cannot get where you want to go and be comfortable at the same time. Okay. If you're going to get out of your comfort zone, which is what you're wanting to do, if you want to change, change is not comfortable, then you have to accept that. Get used to failure. Like we talked about with curiosity, that comes in hand with failure. You cannot be successful if you don't fail, right? I think Einstein said, show me someone who's never failed, and I'll show you someone who's never tried. Okay. You have to try things and see if they work and then be patient. Understand that it's going to take time. The more you rush, the more you waste time. The more you give the process a chance to work, the faster your progress will actually be. It doesn't seem that way because it seems like it's taking forever, and you find this new flashy thing over here that you can do that's going to fix everything and answer all your problems. But really, that ends up setting you back. And you got to come back to where you were and figure out where to start over again. Okay, that's not what we're looking for. These 7 things, guys, we're going to talk about the mindset behind getting these 7 things. That's what the 9 principles of a successful health journey are about. These things is what it's going to take. How do I get these things? How do I maintain these things? How do I develop these things? Right? That's what the 9 principles are for, and that's what we're going to talk about next. The 9 principles to finding success. All right, we'll just read them down the list, and then we'll go into each one. Taking ownership, why and why not, understanding motivation. You need grit, have a consistency mindset. It's for the rest of your life, folks. The only rule is your progress. Data makes the difference, and avoid extremes. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. There are more than 9. I'll talk about that at the end. But in my book, Body Confident, that's coming out in September, I actually have 11 listed. I didn't want to take the time here. And I wanted to kind of leave a little bit more so you guys go get the book to find out the rest. Ha. All right. The 9 principles of finding success. Let's talk about them. Ownership. Guys, the only person who can control where you go is you. It is up to you. You are the primary agent of change in your life. Until you acknowledge that you are where you are because of the decisions that you are making, you cannot make decisions to take you somewhere else. Think about that. You are where you are because that's where you want to be. Ultimately, it is. Now, you may say, "Oh, but I didn't know." Okay, great. You didn't know. And you were making decisions that you thought were right. You were following all the instructions. You were following all the information that's out there from the food pyramid and the FDA and all the in your doctors and everything else, and it just totally messed you up and nothing worked. Okay, great. Guess what? Now you know that's what not to do. Now you have the knowledge that has made you aware of your choice. Now, from this point forward, everything that happens is up to you. It is up to you to find the information. It is up to you to experiment. It is up to you to put the effort in and show up for yourself and do the things that you're going to need to do in order to see progress. Whether that's listening to more information, whether it's trying different program, whatever you think that you need to do to move to the next step, try it. It's better than not doing anything at all. Okay. Knowledge is the door to accountability. Again, once you know, you're watching this. If you're watching this webinar, you know enough to know that it's probably a good idea to eat whole foods. Don't eat processed foods. It's probably a good idea to prioritize animal meat. It's probably a good idea to try to get as much sleep as possible. It's probably a good idea to go out and exercise and lift weights and build lean mass. You know those things. Are you doing those things? If you know it and you know that's what it's going to take to get you where you want to go, are you doing it? Okay? It's up to you. No one's coming to rescue you. This is your journey. You have to take the actions in order to move to the level or the goal or the place or the identity or the lifestyle that you want to have. Okay? Take that home, guys. Take that home. How to take ownership. All right. Make a decision. That's all it is. Now you know, knowledge is accountability. Now you know, make the decision, do something. Doesn't matter what it is, just do something, pick it, and then own that decision. If you make a decision and it doesn't work out, okay, what can I learn from it? Don't get down on yourself. It's a decision you made to get better. You're making a decision to do something to improve your life. Learn from the experience. Don't get down on yourself if it doesn't work. Okay. Owning the journey means you get to decide what's working and what's not anybody else's expectation. Okay. So don't wait, take action, do something today that you've been putting off, that you haven't wanted to do, that you've been procrastinating because you feel it's going to be too uncomfortable or you're not sure if it's going to work. Who cares if it works? Try it. Okay. Ownership is the first step to freedom. You cannot have freedom if you don't own your own life. If you're giving your success, if you're giving the ownership of your success to a program or a diet or an influencer or a coach, and you're not taking on ownership of that yourself, then it's not freedom, guys. The idea of freedom is that you are in control. You can't say, I want freedom in my life, but I don't want to take ownership of my life. Those two things don't work together. Okay. All right. A why and a why not. You have to have a reason. What's the point of doing any of this if you don't have a reason? And I don't mean I want to feel better every day or I want to look good in a bathing suit. That is not a reason. A reason has to represent the purpose behind your actions, decisions, and goals. Okay. A why not is the opposite. And we're going to talk about digging into more of this in a second. A why not is the set of reasons or factors that drive you to avoid specific outcomes. So your why is something that you want really, really, really bad. Your why not is something that you want to get rid of or you don't want in your life really, really, really bad. Okay. That's basically what it is. All right. Why are you doing all of this stuff in the first place? All right. Here's some keys to your why and your why not. It has to be based in emotion. If it is not emotional, then it will not get you through the times where the emotions or the habits or the triggers that you have in other areas would normally be stronger. Okay. If you don't have an emotional connection to the reason, okay, I like to say your why should make you cry. You need to dig and dig and dig until you get to something that is painful and uncomfortable to talk about. That is the root reason why you want to be where you're saying you want to be. And I can tell you right now, guys, here's a little secret. Just saying that I want to lose weight isn't it. Why do you want to lose weight? Why is that important to you? What is it about your identity or your self worth that makes you think your weight isn't good? What is it about your inability to play in the background with your grandkids that makes you sad? Why do you feel like you're not a good example as a parent because you're overweight and sick all the time? What are those deep rooted emotional things that are in the core of what you're saying is the surface level today? Dig into that. Okay. It won't be easy to identify at first, and it may change over time. Understand that your whys can change. I have a why. My why is very personal. It is has to do with my grandparents passing, and the regret that I have of watching them pass, knowing what I know now that I didn't know then, that they didn't have to go the way they went. I watched them over years fade away to nothing. They were not the people when they passed away. They were not the people that I remember growing up with. Okay. When I talk about that I feel a weight in my chest. If you don't feel a weight in your chest, if you don't feel some kind of, it can be any emotion, happiness, sadness, hope, regret, joy, anxiety, something about what you're talking about when you talk about your why, then you're not there yet. Keep digging. Okay. And it may change. That why is never going away, but I have other whys. I have other things that have come up over the years that have said, you know what? This is another reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Being a coach is one of them. I haven't always been a coach, but since I've been coaching, as I've coached for longer, you guys are my why. I want to be there and set an example and help more people realize their full potential. That is very important to me. That is something that keeps me going. And I want to set that example. So that's why I do what I do for myself because I want to show that it's possible, right? So understand it may change over time. It requires constant reinforcement. Once you find your why, you have to keep it in front of you because if you don't keep it in front of you, you're going to get distracted. The challenges in front of you are going to overtake your motivation. Your motivation literally just means whether you want to do it or not. Okay? If you're not motivated, it's not something someone can give you. Motivation is your desire to do the thing. If you're not motivated, you don't want to do the thing. Period. Okay, so that's why we keep our why or our why not strong. Keep it in front of you. It has to be an emotional connection that is stronger than the temptation or the things that are in front of you trying to get you off track. All right. The truth about motivated. This is it, guys. If you're motivated, you want it enough to do the work. If you're not motivated, you just want something else more. I want you to read that over and over again and understand it. Motivation is not a feeling alone. It is a feeling and a commitment to get somewhere because that somewhere is absolutely important. And it is a root core value. It is a root core. It is everything that you are is wrapped up in this thing that you want to be, that you want to do because of whatever your why, whatever your reason is. Okay. When you get to that point, the challenges that you think you have now won't be as nearly as hard. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Here's another secret about motivation and understanding your whys and why nots. Okay. Having it doesn't make the challenges go away. It makes it easier to get through them because now you know why you're going to get through it. When we have a challenge without a why, the challenge is like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm done. I'll just go back to doing what I was doing. Who cares? I'm not going to spend the time and think about how do I get through this. I'm not going to be creative. I'm not going to be curious about what I can do. I'm not going to think on my feet and work through the situation with my family or whatever the case may be. If we have a why that's strong, we do it. We don't even care about it. I have a why that's very important. I have to get to work because if I don't get to work, I can't get paid. If I can't get paid, I can't pay my bills. My family's on the street. My why is very important. I am a father. I am taking care of my family. I will figure out a way to get to work if my car breaks down, right? Whatever it may be. I will get something done. I will do what I need to do to make that happen. We need to have that same commitment, that same sense of urgency when it comes to our health and quality of life. Okay. Another thing about motivation, it is a balance. Motivation is a balance. It is a desire for something new balanced against the resistance to change. Remember, I talked about change a little bit ago. Okay. When we're trying to improve our lives, improve our quality of life, improve our physical freedom, we have to do things to make our body change and adapt. We have to change and adapt our lifestyle. We have to change our schedule. We have to change what we eat. We have to change how we think. It's all about change. Change is not comfortable. Is the change that you're looking to make more uncomfortable than the thing you want, the effort that the thing you don't want, or the thing you're trying to get? If I have to get up in the morning at 5 o'clock and go work out, and that's 30 minutes earlier than normal, but that's the only time I can do it, is that more uncomfortable for me than realizing that I am overweight? I can't walk up and down the stairs by myself. And in a couple of years, I'm going to have someone help me go to the bathroom and wipe my butt. Which of those two has the most benefit? Which of those two is more uncomfortable to think about? Which of those two creates more emotion for me to act against? That's what motivation is. That's the balance you have to understand. You always have a choice and you always want to do something. Do you want to do the thing that you're saying you want to do more than the thing that you're currently doing? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Okay. Oh, and let's go back real quick. I really want to highlight this last part because it's going to tie into something we talk about later. The intensity of resistance often correlates with the perceived risks and drawbacks of the change. How strong is your why? All right. So the stronger, the bigger change you try to make, the more resistance you're going to have. So the bigger your why needs to be. Okay. Now keep that in mind. Remember what I just said. The bigger the change, the more resistance you're going to have to it. Okay. That's going to come. We're going to swing back around on that in a little bit. All right, grit and why you need it. Grit, guys. Grit is firmness of character and involves maintaining effort and interest over the years. I underscored that on purpose, despite failures, adversity, and plateaus in progress. Okay, this you got to understand. We talked about this a second ago with your why and your why not. Challenges are unavoidable. You're going to have challenges. If you don't have a strong why, those challenges are going to be way more difficult to get through than they need to be. All right. Results take time. Priorities change. Progress is not linear. All right. I have a section in my book where I talk about progress and consistency. All right. If you, if progress was a straight line, if you said, hey, I'm going to start this, boom, and then shoot straight across, boom, and now I'm done. If that were the case, if that's how it really worked, you wouldn't be ready for it when you got there. It wouldn't last because there's a mental game, there's a mental process, a mental development that has to happen through the journey of you understanding the worth of the journey, understanding the impact of the change, and understanding what you have to do, what you had to do to earn it, and then how important it is to keep it. Right? You have to go through the journey in order for the journey to be worth it. Then when you get there, it's a lot easier to keep it if you're doing it the right way. Okay. You need grit to get you through. Grit is a combination of having that motivation and having that determination and having that commitment to keep pushing through when times are hard. Okay. You have to understand a few things that help you develop grit. Okay. These are the things that you need to do to, how do I get grit? How do I get more grit in my life? How do I get more stick to itiveness? If you've ever heard that word, no shortcuts. Get your mind out of looking for shortcuts. The minute you stop thinking about shortcuts and start trusting the process, you will start seeing more success. You may not see it right away, but it's going to be bigger. And overall, in the long haul, it's going to be a lot more, a lot faster than you ever expected. You have to learn from failure. You're going to try some things and they're not going to work. That's okay. If you don't fail, you can't move forward. Practice awareness. Practicing awareness is a huge piece to this puzzle. It is a skill. Awareness is a skill, just like curiosity. Awareness is a skill that has to be developed. You have to understand, why are you doing the things that you're doing? Why are you thinking the things that you're thinking? Why do you believe the things that you believe? Okay. Little things make a big difference. When I have a client who asks me, what should I do? I hit all my macros at 12 o'clock and I still have dinner later. What do? I don't want to go over my macros. The belief system there, the belief is, I have a habit. It's dinner time. I have to eat dinner, right? That simple thing, it's not even consciously thought. I have dinner time. I have to eat dinner. If I ate all of my macros for the day early, then I'm going to be over. Even if I'm not hungry, not even taking hunger into account. Just if I eat dinner, I'm going to be over what I'm supposed to have for the day. Okay. Do you have to have dinner? I don't know. I never thought about that. Boom. Awareness. What are you thinking? What are you doing? Are you doing things just because you've always done them that way? And do you have to still do them that way? If you're trying to change, what else can you change? What are the little things that are right in front of you that you can change about your schedule, about your routine, something that's going to make a difference or make it more available to you, the other things that you're trying to add to your life? Okay. Develop habits. Part of that thing is habits, right? The habits that you have now are not going to get you where you want to be. They got you where you are now. If you want to develop, if you want to be somewhere else, you have to figure out, what are the habits that that person does. Look at the identity. Try to build a vision for who you want to be in the future, and what does that version of you do every day. Start writing down, what are the habits of future Coach Bronson. Future Coach Bronson does this, he does that, he does this every day. All right, let's start doing this with one thing first and make that a habit. When that becomes a habit, what's the second thing that Coach Bronson does in the future? Oh, he does this. Okay, let's start doing that. Develop habits that support who you want to become. And then always, always, always reinforce your why and why not. Stay in touch with the motivation, stay in touch with that emotional connection any way possible. Talk about it, share about it, take pictures, talk to whomever about it. Anything you can do to keep that front of mind. All right. Consistency. This is a big challenge for a lot of people, is the strive for perfection. Okay. Understanding that perfect doesn't work. Just be you. You are not perfect. You make mistakes. You have success and you have failures. You do some things really well and you do other things not so well. We all are like that. You cannot be perfect. The more you strive and stress for perfection, the more you set yourself back, because perfection is impossible. Okay. Think about it this way: progressive, positive. What can I do to create positive action over time and not worry about being perfect all the time? Okay. Think about it like an investment. And I'm not talking about spending money. I'm talking about in your thought process for investing. As you invest, you put money in, and then you check it one month and you're like, crap, I'm down 3%. And then you check it another month and you're like, oh, I'm up 5%. And then the next month, maybe I'm up 1%. And then the next month, oh, I'm down 2%, right? It's about trends, it's about compounding interest, it's about patience and continually putting in the effort over time. If you do that, even if you make a wrong choice along the way, it's going to take so much stress off of the process because, guys, you're not one decision at one point in time is not going to completely destroy your whole life's journey. And that's the weight we put on it. That's the weight I deal with. I work with people all the time is they get so stressed out over one day they decided to do something different. I went off the rails. Oh my gosh, I had um, a plate of French fries. That's not the end of the world. The entire month you were fine and you ate everything that you said you wanted to eat. You stayed on goal. You had a plate of French fries. Okay, great. Be aware, develop that self awareness. Why did you do that? Did you think about it beforehand? If you didn't, think about it afterhand. What was the scenario? What was the situation? What was the thought process? What did you justify? How did you justify it? Did you talk yourself through it completely and say, you know what? I'm fine. I've been good. I am good. I've made a ton of progress. I feel like I just want some fries today, so I'm going to have some stinking fries. If that's the case, it's your journey. It's your decision. Own it. Move on. It's okay. What are you going to do from here is what matters, right? Whenever you make it, this is, see, I hope you guys are seeing how all of this stuff circles back around. Okay. You own the decision, you make the decision, and then you move on from the decision. That goes back to ownership. Okay. Thinking about this from a net positive or net negative is going to absolutely change the way that you look at the journey. We shouldn't be adding stress to the process. If you can look at it from how do I progressively, consistently do more good than harm for my health, then the overall process is going to be a lot less stressful for you. Okay. All right. Guys, here's a big one. When can I stop eating this way? My answer is always in that case, whenever you want to. I have had so many people over the years ask me, how long do I have to do this? I, I'm not telling you you have to do it at all. You're the one that decided to do it. So guess what? You're the one that can decide to stop. The question you have to ask yourself is why are you even asking? If you're looking to improve your quality of life, then you have to understand life means until death. This isn't quality of the next 12 months. This isn't, I'm going to do this until I get off of medication and then I'm going to go back to what I'm doing. And then in 12 months, I'm going to be back on medication. Now, that's not what I would want it to be. If that's what you want it to be, that's totally your call. It's your life. Okay. But understand the only thing that changes on your journey is how engaged you are on it. You will always be on the journey. Your journey and the quality of life that you are living never ends until you die. So, whatever you want that quality of life to be is going to require that you engage in the actions that it's going to require for you to live that quality of life. Okay. That can change. I know my journey. I've gone through periods where I have been hyper focused and super strict and disciplined about everything that I do. And it got me to a certain point. And for a long time, I was there. And then a couple years into it, I said, you know what? I am way too focused on this and stressed out. I want to chill out for a little bit and back off. Did I put on some weight? Yeah, I put on some body fat. Did I feel better? Was my quality of life improved? Absolutely, because I was less um, focused and concentrated on that, on the certain things. And I go back and forth. Sometimes I feel like I'll go through a phase. You know what? I want to count my macros. I want to do some specific things in my exercise routine. I want to focus on this. I want to focus on that. And then other times it's like, you know what? I got a bunch of other stuff going on. I'm going to chill out. I'm not going to track. I'm just going to work out a couple days a week and maintain and focus on the other things I have going on. And guess what? That's perfectly fine. As long as for me, my concern is maintaining my personal freedom and independence. If I get to a point where I lose personal freedom, I lose physical function, I lose health, I lose mental capacity, that's when it's gone too far and I would pull back. Now, I will never get there. I'm not going to get there. If I see I have my own limits and boundaries of where I want my body to be and things like that. So I have a very specific kind of framework I try to live in. That's up to you. Where you are in that journey and how engaged you are in that process is completely up to you. But you have to understand the journey doesn't end until you die. So the mindset, this is where we talked about before, having that shortcut mindset, having that long-term mindset, having that patience. This also means you have your whole life. I don't care if you're 80 years old. You have the rest of your life to do more to improve your quality of life. There's no rush. Be patient. Okay. The only rule, this is a big one, guys. I am hyper focused right now on helping people understand that nobody can tell you what to do for for your journey other than you. No one else is living your life. Okay. All you have to recognize that if you're trying something and it's not working, it's not working. Stop sticking to things because you think someone else is expecting you to do it or because an expert said that's what should work. I don't care if someone has 18 initials behind their name, they're not living your life and they don't know what's best for you. Get the information, experiment, and find what's going to work better for you. Understand that even if it's working now, it may not work a year from now. You may need to change. That's why experimentation is the key. You have to experiment with things. And you may find that something doesn't work for you now. It may work for you a year from now. That's the cool thing about experimentation and not looking at things as failures. Just because something didn't work for you in the situation you are currently in doesn't mean you can't revisit it 2 years down the road. But at least now you know how to do it. Now you've been through the experience and you know what happened. And you can say, hey, I tried this before and I didn't need it then, but now I'm in a situation where it might work. Right? Failures add to experience. Experience add to options. Options help improve success. All right. Some things aren't going to work. Have a reason and a result defined. This is one of the big things. Well, I'm doing this because so and so said it's good to do. So and so said this study said that I'll increase my longevity by whatever statistically made up, improperly formulated number um, said I was going to increase my longevity. Okay. Those are not reasons to do anything. Before you implement anything in your life, you have to have a reason and understand what is the result you're trying to get specifically, not generally. I am going to do this because I am trying to do X, Y, and Z in this amount of time for this reason. If you can say those things and you can relate that to how is this going to help me get there, then you have a much better chance of that thing actually working for you. If you're just doing stuff willy nilly because you heard somebody say that was the cool thing to do, and all you're worried about, this is another trap, all you're worried about is trying to lose fat or lose weight, not a bad thing, not a bad motivation, not always the best thing to focus on as a reason to do something though. Okay? There's a difference between wanting to lose weight as a motivation and using weight loss as a filter for action. Okay? I could probably do a whole nother video on that. Okay. So when we're focused on taking actions that just lose weight, we tend to always have to take actions to just lose weight. If we take actions to fix how our body functions, we will lose the weight and gain a whole bunch of other things. Okay. Something to think about. Have a reason and a result for why you want to implement anything. Data makes a difference. Everybody hates tracking, guys. Tracking is super important. If you're not tracking, you're not trying. You don't have to do it forever, and you get to decide what it means. For some people, it's tracking everything they put in their mouth. For others, it's just taking pictures. For others, it's just writing down, here's what I had today. However that works. Understand that data is what allows you to make changes that matter. Okay. Looking at the trends over time. I've been doing this for 6 weeks. This is what happened. Here's what I'm going to do to change it. It goes back to the other thing. Without data, you can't have specific results and a specific reason and a specific goal for making any choices or decisions. So everything ties together, guys. In case you hadn't figured that out, all of these work with each other. Okay. Data doesn't define you. This is a big trap. We see the data, we see the weight on the scale, we see the body fat percentage, we see this, we see that, and we start thinking, "Oh man, I'm horrible. I suck. I can't do anything right." Stop it. It's just a number. The only value that number has is in how it's going to help you make the next decision. It has nothing to do with you. So stop telling yourself that your value has anything to do with the number. You are more valuable than that. I can promise you that. All right. Stop being all or nothing. Okay. Talked about this earlier. I said, keep an eye out for this. The greater the change, the greater the resistance, guys. When you try to go from nothing to everything overnight, you're not going to be successful. It's not going to work. I don't know how many people I've talked to that are going from standard American diet. Oh, I heard about this keto carnivore thing. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to go carnivore. I'm going to start intermittent fasting. I'm going to go to the gym 4 days a week, and I'm going to try to get 6,000 steps a day. No. Why? What's the one thing you can do today that you know you can do for the rest of your life? Start there, right? What's the one thing that's going to make a difference in your progress or get you moving in the right direction that you can do sustainably that says, you know what, that makes sense. I can do that. It's something I'm not used to doing. It might be a little uncomfortable, but I can make that happen. I have to change my schedule. I have to change how I prep food, I have to buy different food, whatever it may be. I have to go to the gym, whatever it may be. It's something that's outside my comfort zone. It's going to make a change, but I can do it and I will do it and I'm committing to do it. And it's something I will be consistent at. That's all you need. The bigger you try to make the change, the more extreme you go, the shorter the term of that change is going to be and the shorter the term of the any success you get out of that change is going to be. Okay. Remember, that is the mindset that the challenge or the program or the change you're making is going to be the secret sauce. It's not. You consistently showing up for yourself and learning from the process is the secret sauce. All right. Questions for sustainable change. When we talk about making sustainable change, am I ready, willing, and able to do it? Am I trying to meet other people's expectations or my own? Stop trying to do things for other people, guys. Do I know exactly how it will help me accomplish my goals? Is it a leap or a step across my comfort zone? We don't need the whole idea of getting outside your comfort zone doesn't mean you have to take a running jump and see how far outside your comfort zone you can go. Just take a step. And then your comfort zone will then surround you from there. And then you can take another step. And then your comfort zone spreads out and it gets bigger and bigger, right? Just take one step at a time. And over time, your comfort zone is going to grow with you. Okay. The more you jump outside your comfort zone, the longer and the harder it's going to be for your comfort zone to find where you are and get back to you. That's not what you're looking for. Okay. Will it disrupt others in my life? This is a big mistake a lot of people make. I'm going on this journey. I'm going to do all this stuff. And then they completely forget to bring anybody in their family into the discussion. You need support from your family, guys. If you're going to do something that's going to disrupt your family's life, that goes back to the large change. You have to make sure that you are encompassing all of the aspects of your life, and your family is one of them. Okay. And then how much do I need? Is there an aim low that you're missing? Jordan Peterson said this on a Joe Rogan podcast. He's talked about aiming low. We don't aim low enough. And I want to highlight that because I think it's really, really important. We want to make big changes so bad that we feel if a change isn't big enough, then it's not worth my time. That is a recipe for disaster. In the exact opposite is what you need to be doing. The smaller the change, the more attainable the change, the more obvious the change, the more likely you are able to do it and keep doing it for the rest of your life. Don't avoid the things that are obvious because they're obvious, number one, because you know that's probably what you should be doing and you're avoiding doing that thing. You want to do something big and flashy to show everybody that you're doing this cool thing, right? No, no, that's not what it's about. It's not about trying to meet other people's expectations. What do you need to do for you? That's what matters. All right. The 9 principles of success, everybody. Take ownership, have a why and a why not. Understand that motivation can't be given to you. You either want it or you don't. You need grit. Have a consistency mindset. It's for the rest of your life. The only rule is your progress. Data makes the difference and avoid extremes. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. I hope that was helpful. I hope that kind of wrapped a lot of things up. I did not take nearly as much time as I kind of wanted to. This could have easily been an hour and a half. if I dug into all these things and added the other two. There are 11 of these in total. If you get my book, Body Confident, that comes out in September, then you will, the pre-sale is out now. Go and click on the QR code, click on the link, bodyconfidentbook.com. The book has a ton of information. It is a critical thinking guide for your health journey. It is this kind of information put in a framework to help you decide what the best choice of action for you is going to be in the next step in your journey, to filter through all the information that's out there and kind of figure out, okay, look, there's so many different ways to do this. How's it going to work for me? What's the thing I need to be focusing on right now? Okay. And it is something that you'll be able to use for the rest of your life, because the framework doesn't end. It is a repeatable process that you can use every time you're looking to make a change. Thanks again for listening, guys. Thank you, Dr. Cho, for having me on, and I will see you next time.